Okay. Hello, everybody. You've got me in the wrong slide. Here we go. Honestly, hey? Well, good evening. Hello, L'Angèle. I just wanted to start by making an exciting announcement tonight and letting you know that the our Wednesday nights are going to evolve. The group was we put it together very quickly, and it was all based around uh, the Wednesday night lives, and we've got people all over the world, and a lot of people it doesn't work for them. And we left Facebook for a number of reasons, and we're doing our lives on YouTube now. But with that, we missed that beautiful thread of discussion that we used to have in the group under the video. So we are evolving, and we're going to actually make the group bigger and better and much more interactive. So I will be doing a video, but we're going to drop it on at a regular time, same as the live, and then we can have the chatter that happens below that video, like we used to have when we did them in Facebook. I'm also going to drop an inspirational story once a month. So from somebody who is sharing with us what they're doing, what's working, what's not, and I've done two exciting interviews already for that. If you'd like to be included in that, please let me know because I'm happy to interview you. And then, yeah, I want to make the group a little bit more for you and a little bit more interactive too, because I think we sort of unsadly lost that when we switched to YouTube Live. Anyway, here we are. Um, Talking about mushrooms and MS. And, mushrooms have been around medicinally since forever. But like anything else nowadays, we've got, increased awareness and increased science. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? The increased interest and awareness or the increased science? Anyway, we've got this situation where once again, traditional medicine, whether that's naturopathic medicine or in the case of mushrooms, I automatically think of traditional Chinese medicine coming together with the new science. And somewhere down here out of the picture is mainstream medicine, which doesn't really have any comment. So it's important to know that there's a lot of interest. Like I said, there's a lot going on in the mushroom world. But I want you to know that a lot of the research has been done on mice and rats. So there's very few human trials that have been done. So on this side, on the modern side, we've got science going, hey, this is super interesting. We're going to start doing research on rodents. And that is kind of juxtaposed to hundreds and in some case thousands of years of traditional use. So this is definitely a buyer beware thing. And yeah, talk it over with your healthcare provider, or maybe you'll get a better understanding and feel more comfortable with it after we talk today. So the first thing that I want to look at is the overall the overriding action or mechanism of action of these mushrooms. And I think the greatest understanding is the immunomodulation. And I pulled this right out of a paper from Mays in 2021. The greatest effects of the mushrooms are to modulate the human immune response, helping decrease it when it's overactive, as in allergies or autoimmune conditions, and increasing it when it's underactive, such as chronic debility and fatigue or a pattern of recurrent infection, and to stimulate cells, to stimulate it to attack cells that have mutated, as in cancer. So that's generally what we know of when we think of mushrooms, but I'm going to go through a few that I pulled out because I thought they were interesting for you, and we're going to dive into their personalities a little bit more. That's the beautiful thing. I consider mushrooms under the botanical medicine umbrella. And the beautiful thing about plants, or yeah, sure, mushroom is a plant, right? It's is they all have a different personality. And so I want you to get to understand that personality. And I know that there are people, hey Kara, hey Chris, and Maggie and Langelle, of course. I know Renee, you are brewing some hooch right now. I want to know what you're doing. You're doing double extraction. I want to know what mushrooms you're using. And Deborah, if she joins us, I don't know if she's out there listening, but I know she's also doing a double extraction right now. So I'd like to know if you're using mushrooms, what you're using, and then let's see if we cover them tonight, the specific ones. Okay. Now, all that to say, when we're going to jump into the individual mushrooms and the personalities in nature, a plant never has just one action. That doesn't work like that. So we've got MS, that's this multi-system, complex chronic illness. Remember, it is that misdirected, inappropriate immune response causing inflammation, playing itself out in the brain. So we've got that. We've got multiple systems involved in that. So we've got the same kind of action coming from the mushrooms, multiple constituents, multiple actions. And as with any supplement, if you're deciding you're going to take mushrooms, ideally you're going to be working with somebody who's going to help you put that in the context of your overall plan. Not that it becomes another bottle of supplements on your kitchen counter, but ask yourself, why am I taking this? So you should be able to, any pile of supplements on your counter, you should be able to pick up any supplement and say, why am I taking this? And then how does it fit into that overall plan of yours? Okay. And Butterfingers here, flipping. Okay, you want to know, and these are things that I think of with any supplement, is, are you using it to address a specific issue? Is it a seasonal support thing? Because of course our needs change with the seasons. Is this an ongoing therapy? Are these mushrooms that you're using synergistic with other things, which means that 1 + 1 = 3? So it actually takes your whole program up a lot, so that you don't need to take as much of things. All of these are the questions you need to ask yourself, and certainly if it's in conflict. Also, I found very interesting, and I dug into this a little bit, because mushrooms are a food and a fungus. It's just a little something I've had in the back of my mind. Is there a cross reactivity that happens with mold? Because there's so much mold in our regular foods, and just naturally, right? Like in vegetables and certainly in cereals. And sure enough, I found out that there is a possible cross reactivity between mushrooms and mold. The one study I looked at, it was in people that have oral allergy syndrome. So when you eat something and you get sort of sores in your mouth, or cankers or things like that, and also in people who have allergic rhinitis. So if you have any kind of oral allergy syndrome when it comes to foods, or if you have chronic rhinitis, which means like runny nose, then maybe mushrooms aren't for you. Okay? So now I want to take a look and meet the personalities of some of these mushrooms, because they all do a little bit different things differently under that umbrella of immunomodulation. Okay, so we're going to start with today's rock star. Any guesses what that one is? In the MS world, that's it's starting a little, or it has started a little buzz. That is lion's mane, or Hericium erinaceus. And it's kind of like the ideal culinary medicinal herb, because it's delicious and it's also medicine. It's become well established in promoting positive brain and nerve health, and its related related activities. It induces nerve growth factor and also BDNF, so brain derived neurotrophic factor. And what it does is it's involved in the maintenance and regeneration of the nerves, and not just in the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord, but also in the peripheral nervous system. So anything, think about out in the periphery, your arms, your legs, your hands, your feet, that kind of thing. So NGF is short for nerve growth factor, which it induces, is necessary for learning, memory, and attention. And there are actually in this mushroom, there are actually human studies to show that it increases cognitive function. So this is not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all for people with multiple sclerosis. It shows promising results in a lot of neurodegenerative disease. The second one I want to introduce you to is turkey tail. And it's actually a really pretty one if you've ever seen it. It grows on the trunks of the trees in clusters and literally looks like a turkey tail, hence its name. It acts as a prebiotic. So a prebiotic helps the normal microflora in the gut to grow nicely. It also helps to reduce candida and small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, so SIBO. So it's really, the personality of turkey tail is it's really helping with the gut, and of course to balance the gut, and that of course reduces leaky gut. Okay, so much of the research around turkey tail is about its anti-cancer polysaccharides. So it's famous for its anti-cancer treatments. Actually, in Japan, they use it in cancer patients. But so that's the immune modulation is its big thing, but it's also antiviral. So it's got the gut thing going on. So the anti-candida, anti-SIBO, which is usually bacterial. It's got the antiviral as well as the immunomodulation. So turkey tail's a good one. Another good one, right? The third one I'd like to introduce you to is cordyceps. And cordyceps is a really interesting mushroom because it's actually a parasitic fungi that grows on the larvae of insects. And what it does is it replaces the flesh of those larvae with these long, sort of very delicate, feathery tendrils. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they hand pick the fungi with the exoskeleton of the bug, and that's what they use to make any medicines from. And it's been used for centuries to treat fatigue, sickness, kidney disease, and low sex drive, so low libido. There's about 400 species of cordyceps, but the ones you want to use are the Cordyceps sinensis and the Cordyceps militaris, and the sinensis, I think, is just a lot more common. It's well researched. It's also very expensive. This is probably the most expensive of the mushrooms, just I think because of its uniqueness. So what does it do? It increases energy production. So the actual energy molecules called ATP. And in doing so, that is really, really essential for delivering energy to muscles. Is this resonating with anybody yet? And then of course the fatigue and strength and sex drive. It's at the root of that are its antioxidants properties. It's also anti-inflammatory, and there's lots of research, like I said, on its anti-tumor stuff, but also anti-diabetes, anti-cholesterol. So you've got to be watching, like if you are also diabetic and you're taking diabetic medicines, if you're, it doesn't mean that natural medicines are contraindicated. But what it does mean is you need to have somebody that's there to help monitoring you, so you don't, especially in the case of blood sugar, so you don't crash and burn. Okay. The next mushroom I'd like you to meet is called chaga. Chaga. And chaga mushrooms, again, have been used for centuries, but more in the north. So they grow mostly on birch trees and in colder climates like Siberia and Northern Europe and stuff like that. And they're pretty ugly. They look like a big chunk of cork, and they grow in big strips on the outside of those birch trees. So they kind of look like charcoal or something. But when you crack them open on the inside, they're very soft and they've got an orange color, and it's traditionally ground into a fine powder and brewed into a tea. And it's just packed with antioxidants. It's also anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antiviral. So it's kind of, and remember, under the umbrella of the immunomodulation of mushrooms. So it also has the anti-cholesterol, blood sugar regulator, so the metabolic balancers. So this is just kind of a good, all round, all systems kind of mushroom. And I see some activity there. I will get to that as soon as we're finished here. And finally, the last mushroom I want to talk to you about is reishi. And reishi, I mean, it's been around just so forever. And it's a popular one in traditional Chinese medicine as well. It's delicious if you've ever eaten reishi. It's used in traditional Chinese medicine to promote longevity. It's an adaptogen, which means it helps the body deal with stress. Adaptogen, it helps the body adapt to stress. It's also anti-inflammatory. It's antiviral. But most uniquely, I want you to think of reishi as Mother Nature's anti-anxiety mushroom. It has everything good that mushrooms have going for them, plus these calming properties. And it's the triterpenes in the reishi that make it calming. And reishi's actually got quite a load of those. And these mood boosting compounds help to alleviate anxiety, ease depression, and encourage better sleep. So, and once again, most of the studies on these are done on mice. So those are 4 or 5, how many were they, that you can say, okay, you know what, this one, I think this combination is good, or this one is good. Let's see what you folks are talking about. So Renee's, Maggie, Maggie, do you do lion's mane, turkey tail, and reishi separately? I'm curious to know. And Renee's doing a double extraction tincture of turkey tail. Maitake, okay, I didn't talk about maitake. I love that mushroom though. Reishi, shiitake, and cordyceps. Nice. A small quantity of cordyceps. Okay, and then lion's mane at Christine. Sounds amazing. It actually, Renee's, yep, I knew that. Vodka is the base, and it's a 6 to 8 week program. Yeah. For the chaga, is it, you know what, chaga is my least favorite. Not that I dislike any of them, but it's just kind of the vanilla one. All the rest of them have just so much more quality, so many different qualities. So yes, the immune modulator, Chris or Renee, who was ever asking that question. Adele, none of these are not magic mushrooms. They do not have psychedelic properties at all. Okay, so now let's talk about how they're consumed, because we've started in this line of in this thread of discussion talking about a double extraction or a dual extraction. And of course, historically, what did they do? They made teas or decoctions. A decoction is just a super strong tea. So put some herbs in a pot, put some water on it, steep it for 2 or 3 minutes and have a tea, or steep it for 24 hours and have a medicine. So that's how that works. Um, but um, they now research is telling us that the double extraction is the way to go. And that's because there's something called chitin in mushrooms, and our bodies just don't break it down. So in not breaking it down, then we don't get the constituents of the mushroom that are sort of locked up in that. So the double extraction actually breaks down the chitin and allows all of the constituents out of the mushrooms. Dried mushrooms are often used in food. So, for example, reishi mushrooms are and maitake mushrooms are staples in my bone broth. I always put a bunch of dried ones in my bone broth. Powdered mushroom extracts, in my opinion, that's the best one. What that does, and you've got to get the powdered mushroom extract, not powdered mushrooms. And what they do with that is they do the dual extraction on it, and then they dehydrate it, so they get rid of the liquid, and that which is left is the powdered extract. That's also what would be in good capsules. So you've really got to do your homework when it comes to taking mushrooms, because you want to make sure that this whole dual extraction is fairly new. It's been on the scene since I have been a naturopath, which I guess it's been 20 years, but that's relatively speaking, that's not a long time, right? The powdered mushroom extracts are kind of all the rage right now. You can get them in your lattes, and you can buy them and throw them in your smoothie, but there's actually some coffee substitutes that are made out of powdered mushroom extracts. So I've never tasted them, so I couldn't tell you what they taste like, but you can get 3 mushroom combinations. You can get 5 mushroom combinations. Terry Walls uses 3 different ones. She uses reishi, lion's mane, and turkey tail. But you can go through what we just talked about and choose the ones that suit your needs the most. In the past, clinically, I also combine mushrooms with other adaptogenic herbs, and which I love. I love doing stuff like that. And as far as dosages go, because of the inconsistent research, there's also inconsistent recommendations. So I would just go with whatever the manufacturer recommends on that, or if you can find a study where they've had positive outcomes and look and see what they've used. Okay, so in summary, before I go to these questions, mushrooms can be of great benefit in your overall plan. You can use them based on these personalities that we talked about. You can pick and choose them and put them into a combination that's perfect for you. Remember, they do the immune modulation. So in the face of that inappropriate, misdirected immune system, it can calm that down. They can increase energy production. They can be antimicrobial, antiviral. They increase BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and NGF, nerve growth factor in the brain, which enhances myelin production and nerve protection and maintenance. So there's a whole lot going on there for people who have multiple sclerosis. Let's look at some of the questions now. I take them every morning. Good vibes. Excellent. Should we supplement or drink the mushroom tea? Well, that's a great question, Langelle. I think the mushroom tea a mushroom tea won't necessarily get all the constituents if you're just using the dried mushroom. So make sure that you're getting the powdered mushroom extract, which is the dried. It's evaporated, basically, dual extraction tincture. Maggie saying, so do you look for a double extraction in pill form? Maggie, I think it's understood that if you've got a powdered mushroom extract, that's what it is. Suggest a place for mushroom extraction supplement, please. Full script. Okay, you know what? I will do that from full script. I'll take a look and see what full script has, and I'll post it in the group. Some of the good mushrooms, because there's, I mean, NFH, they were some of the first ones to come on the scene with the water extraction. I'm not sure if they're doing dual extraction right now, but I will definitely take a look for you, Langelle, and post that in the group. I'm looking to buy a good combo reishi cordyceps lion's mane. I can't make it. LOL, I'm in Ontario. Okay, Kara. Southwestern, and any suggestions would be great. Okay, so what I'm going to do, my preferred would be, I've got a big bottle that I made for myself ages ago, and I just found it when we were unpacking a box. So I've got to go through that. But if I were to get something now, I would get the powdered extract because it's just so flexible. You can make it into a tea. You can throw it in a smoothie. But I'm going to take a look, and I'll make some posts in the group about something that looks decent to me. Okay? Okay, so I hope that was fun, and I hope you got to know a little bit about the personalities of the different mushrooms, and go through it again and see what fits for you. I mean, remember we talked about hidden infections, and I just love the turkey tail for that, because the turkey tail gets the candida, it gets the SIBO, and it's also like regular viruses like cold flu viruses, HPV, herpes viruses. So that's a great one in the overall picture. And you know, I just love the different. I actually, it was a great refresher for me to go through this and look at all the personalities, because that's how I look at them, is how they're different. So they've all got that immune modulating umbrella, and then they have their own characteristics, right? It's just like your kids. They've all got the same parents, but they're all different and unique. Okay, so there you go. Have fun with your mushrooms and stay tuned for some posts in the group. And the new format for the group will begin in April. So I will make an announcement in the group, just so you know, and we can get back to chatting in the group so that we don't lose any communication between all of us. Good night, bonsoir. See you next week. Bye-bye.